Saturday. I don't know if this time works for most people, but I wanted to do this topic based on, sorry, I'm trying to adjust the camera still. Is that better? Okay. Kiannaa Sadge here. Welcome to another video for the Being in Sync video series. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you for those of you who are watching on replay and for those of you who are making content requests because I'm doing these every day and I know what interests me, but what interests you is most important. And to share with you from an energetic perspective, oftentimes I know it's very different for most people to understand. So I'm trying to keep these clear and concise. So first, let me say my name is Kiannaa Sadge, and I guide people to peace by helping to align their physical body, mental body, emotional body, and spiritual bodies. Yes, we have that many bodies, okay? And somebody said so eloquently yesterday, this is about improvement. Yes, this is not only about self-improvement, but evolution and expansion and heart alignment. This is the way in which we can, hi Peter, hey Michelle, good to see you. This is a way that we can align that opens our heart. So I appreciate you being here. Let me start by saying I do have a special, if you haven't seen me in a year or if you have never seen me, I promise you, I've never offered this deal that I'm offering right now. I didn't offer it because I wanted to. I offered because I was guided to, and I follow my guidance. It's my practice to follow guidance that I'm given, even though it's illogical and makes no sense. I do it because I am in service to the natural laws of one, which never usually go in logical ways. So, hence the topic regret. Okay, so today's topic is on regret. I'm going to put content up front so people who don't want to stay on in the replay can jump off if they don't want to do Q&A. But I'm curious, there's only a handful of us in here. I'm curious if you all would be interested in a day in which I just do What Would Kiannaa Do series. So maybe every Monday it would be what would Kiannaa do? And the reason why I'm asking is because I have friends and I have associates and I have former clients that always say that they ask themselves, well, what would Kiannaa do? So I thought, would that be an interesting topic for you guys to hear about? So there's that question. Okay, so how do you know you are experiencing regret? So I'm going to start by this topic of regret. I'm going to cover two aspects. Number one, how to identify and know that that's what you're experiencing is regret. Like what qualifies regret energetically. Because what we think things are and what they are energetically is very different. And then I'm going to give you 4 different ways in which that you can leverage regret, because as we know, we cannot go back in time, except for in the present moment, because all things are healed in the present moment. And that clears and neutralizes past timelines. So keeping that in mind, the law that we're working with today is the natural and the universal law of correspondence. And that law states that essentially our frequency, also known as a signal, is what determines what attracts us. So this is very much from the law of attraction, right? That's what you might be familiar with this law. Well, we're always signaling, even if we don't understand or know it. But regret is a really good example of how we can signal something like regret, and it will change the frequency in which we attract what we want. So let's just say you want to attract a man, or you want to attract a girlfriend or a partner or a new job, whatever it is that you're looking to attract. Let's just say you have that frequency of vibrating of regret, okay? Because that's what regret is. And so if the frequency of regret is vibrating more stronger than, let's just say, your desire for a new job or that partner or whatever it is, then that would cancel out what you're trying to attract. You see, this is why the law of attraction was so distorted when it went out into the public, is because you want to attract in alignment to the natural laws. So you don't want to look at regret like, oh, I screwed up. You want to look at regret to, oh, I was misaligned. I wasn't in alignment with the natural laws. How was I misaligned? You want to start to learn and grow. But so first of all, you want to know if you're experiencing regret. First thing you're going to know is awareness. You have to have awareness in order to know that regret is even present. Now, regret does not always equal, hey, I made a mistake, because lots of people make mistakes and they don't have regret. So the regret is going to be signaling you that there's something that needs to be adjusted in your alignment of how you are actually walking through life. So that's different than a mistake, right? So how do you know the feeling of regret? Typically, it's going to be a sinking feeling, like in your heart. It's not going to be shock. It's going to be like you almost feel as if your heart drops when you even think about something like that. So just imagine, like, a lot of people feel that sinking feeling when they get pulled over by the police. It's that almost panic, but not quite a panic, but oh, I'm in trouble. So it's that kind of visceral experience. And then it's, as I said, similar to a mistake, but you're not really consciously aware of how that regret would be a mistake. So let's just say, let's just use the example that I used yesterday. So I sent my father a letter so I wouldn't experience regret. Meaning I wanted to make sure that he knew exactly where I was coming from, knew exactly that I had forgiven him, all of those things prior to him ever dying. So I preemptive what I had seen other people do, feel loss or mourning or regret or really devastated because they didn't do certain things. So regret is usually going to be denial, ignorance, ignoring, avoiding, doing an action that needs to be done in order to create a resolution or an alignment. So regret is a good indication that you have misalignments, okay? So the other thing that regret is going to also show you is your level of acceptance. So with regret, you might have some levels of acceptance, like, okay, so that happened. Like you accept that happened. But you might not have total acceptance of an event. And that is causing the frequency of regret. Does that make sense? I know it's kind of complicated, but I'm trying to make it simple on video, which, it's so interesting on video because when I'm usually having these conversations with a client who has regret, it's changing in the moment we're having the discussion. Yet on these YouTubes, I'm just talking. I'm not running the energy. So I'm finding it to be a really interesting distinction in how I'm explaining, because I'm not able to get the feedback of the understanding in the space. Does that make sense? So it's very interesting for me to see how this YouTube stuff works. So let me ask you, let me just go forward. I'm just going to go forward and continue the rest of what I'm saying, and then I'll see if there are questions. So first, you want to know if you're experiencing regret. And so that'll be through an awareness, a sinking feeling of your heart. It will be similar to a mistake, but not like a mistake, okay? Similar. And then you will have a level of acceptance in some ways, but not totally, okay? So you will have an awareness of that aspect, like that stinging, hopefully. That would come with awareness. Some people operate from regret, but they don't want to look at it because there's pain, and that magnifies the signal. Okay, so 4 ways in which you can leverage regret, because everything that you have in your experience is an opportunity to leverage to go into a new direction, right? And so if you have regret, we know that it's creating a misalignment, right? A distortion in your experience that's less than pleasant or less than preferred, let's just say. And you want to feel better, right? Like, who doesn't want to feel better? Because regret does not feel good. So how do you leverage that? First, I'm going to give you 4 different ways in which you can leverage it. The first is that you identify the different areas, aspects, situations, people, places, things in which you have regret. So if your thing is like, let's just say, I regret ever going to that party, okay? That's not significant enough. You want to really identify what about the party is regretful. And because you can't heal something, from my experience, in general terms, especially when it's this type of frequency. So you want to address really, sorry, I got distracted by a comment. I need to not look at the comments, sorry. So you want to really look at things more specifically. What about the party would cause you to be regrettable? So was it a person that you interacted with, for example? What about that exchange caused you to have regret? So you want to look at something like that. Or it could be, oh, I have a relationship with an ex and I regret ever knowing him. Well, that's too general, because the relationship got you to where you are right now, and that where you are right now is giving you the opportunity to heal what happened, but you can't heal if you're not willing to look at that everything about the relationship may have not been, because you needed to learn something. So we're approaching this from the perspective of that everything is an opportunity to learn and expand. If we don't want to look at things, we cannot learn, we cannot expand. So we have to be willing to look at what specifically about the relationship is regrettable. Is it that I didn't own my choices? You know, because that person in that relationship, that's a choice, right? We're always making choices. So you want to make amends for whatever aspect, let's just say it is a relationship. And let's just say you're in a relationship, and instead of having a conversation about breaking up, you just sent them a text. Maybe that's like regrettable. Maybe you could have behaved better. So what would you do to make amends for that situation? Would you go back to that person and would you make amends to them and say, you know, I really wish I could have behaved better? Or do you just change your behavior moving forward? Like, that is a choice for you. Now, the people that choose to not amend the relationship in which they had that significant situation with, they don't get the healing the same way. You can heal, it just doesn't heal as cleanly as it could if you went and actually corrected it. So let's just talk about relationships with parents right now. So sometimes we have parents who parent poorly, let's just say. You know, we're human, they're human, everybody has their own soul path, but obviously a lot of kids have judgments about how their parents parent. And that's not really healthy for you, but that is something that happens frequently. Like, kids often, and even adults, wish that their parents had parented them differently. And they may have regret that maybe I didn't have both parents, or maybe they regret that, you know, they didn't have more money. I don't even know what people regret in relationship to their parents. It's a lot. But if you cannot make amends with them before they pass away, what you want to do is resolve it within yourself. And there are many ways in which you could do that, but that's what would need to happen, okay? The other thing that you could do, so that's number one. So you would need to do something. There's an action that must be done to clear regret, oftentimes. So do something to make amends. Number 2, use that situation, that relationship, that event that caused you to feel regret. Use that to make a decision to be more in the present moment. So to not be in the past or in the future, but to be more present in the moment. And then to do what is needed in the moment. See, when we are in regret, we're not present. That's why we don't do better, because we didn't know better. So the idea now that you're having awareness about having regret means that you can do something to change it. That means that you could change your behavior moving forward, and that is healing. But if you choose to not do something to change your behavior moving forward, the regret frequency stays. It sticks. And depending on how long it's been there and how strong it is, it will become what's called a locked-in frequency. That will keep you locked into what's called a very lower frequency of discomfort. So if you look at scales of frequency, and I know some of you have seen those, if you look at scales of frequency, regret would be closer to the lower realms. Why do you not want to have that hooked in? Because it's harder to access and hold higher frequencies. That's why it's so important to resolve these types of things. And then the third aspect that you can do to leverage is identify what you did that was regrettable, right? And do the opposite moving forward. So let's just say you didn't have a clean breakup. Like, let's just say you had a breakup and you just went your separate ways and there was no words spoken. It was just an incomplete, what I would say, closing. It wasn't complete. So what you would do is make a vow to never do that again. And, if you're lucky, you'll get to encounter that person again and clean it up. But a lot of people don't have the courage or the know-how or the willingness to do that. But that is always an opportunity for you. Okay, so the fourth thing that you can do is make a list of character traits that you would need to embody so you don't repeat the pattern of regret. So embodiment is really what you want to start to embrace, because embodiment of higher frequencies means that you can hold them. And when you're holding a higher frequency, everything in your experience will shift and change. So that's just 4 ways that, hey Matt, good to see you here. That's just 4 ways that I wanted to give you out front here, and so you have something tangible. But there are many ways to heal. Just like there are many ways to God, there are many ways to heal. But regret is a specific lower frequency that you do not want to sit with, because it directly impacts how you are operating specifically with the law of correspondence. So there you go. So let me know if you have any questions. And if you ask me a question specifically enough about regret, I could potentially give you a different avenue in which you might consider to leverage that I didn't already speak to. But I really like to keep things in alignment with the topic if possible. Good to see you here, Matt. I'm just going to go back and see if there's questions. Thank you, Oliver and Peter, for helping out here. Appreciate you. Oh, regret. Am I saying? I noticed I kept on saying it differently. Regret. So that's what we're talking about. REGRET. And a regret, something that will hold you in a lower frequency of vibration. What you are regretting would be different for everybody. Okay. Oh, raw one, I'm so glad that it was helpful. That's why I'm talking about regret today, because that was a suggestion from yesterday's video. I'm glad that you liked it. I can't even remember what I talked about, to be honest with you. Oh, soul wounds, yes. Soul wounds. Hey, if we can clear up the soul wounds, it changes everything. But most people don't even know or understand, soul wounds, or that they even have a soul. And if you have a soul, do you even think about it being wounded? I mean, no. But if you understand energy, then you would know that when we get fractured, it's going to impact every aspect of our body. Okay. Thanks for being here, Raw One, and everybody else here. Okay. Just seeing if there's any questions around this topic. Hey, Noel, good to see you here. Yeah, it's so nice to have you here, and I'm glad I got your name correct, hopefully. Any questions specific that I can, hi Wendy, good to see you here. We're talking about regret, and I went over how to understand if you have regret. Clear the regret from your past spendings, from your holdings. I'm not sure what you're saying there, Raw One. But yes, that's what I'm talking about. When you clear regret, you can vibrate and hold higher frequencies. But if you're not even consciously aware that you have regret, you don't even know that you're vibrating in a lower frequency. But if you have problems with your parents that you haven't addressed, or that they've died, there are ways that you could clear regret without engaging with them specifically, by simply making decisions and choices to move ahead differently. Nabet is saying, what kinds of moods or mindsets are high frequency? Love, compassion, kindness to everybody, not just some people, but everybody. Even those people that you don't even prefer. Those are higher frequencies. Does that help you, Nabet? Lots of crypto stuff. Matt is saying, I've had lots of regrets, but I've learned to overcome it. Okay, so learning, knowing, and awareness, Matt, thank you for saying this, because this brings up another aspect that I have not talked about, is not enough. For regret to be different, there actually needs to be conscious choices to do different, be different, and it needs to be conscious. Because if, let's just say you have a learning, and that learning stays in your mind, it doesn't go to your physical body, it doesn't go to your mental body, it doesn't hit your emotional body, and it doesn't go all the way through to your spiritual body, then it doesn't clear, you see. It stays in the mental or in the mind, which is different than how your bodies operate. So to integrate learning is what needs to happen. It means that there must be a conscious choice to do differently because of the learning that you've had. I think you bring up a really good point. Thank you. Thank you, Michelle. Glad you were here. Hopefully that was helpful for you. Thanks, Christian. Doctor is saying no regrets from life. Good for you. No regrets, Raw One. Good for you. Oh, right, Matt. You lost your mother. I'm so sorry about that. Okay, so thank you so much. Matt is asking a beautiful question, and I just want to honor you totally and completely for asking such a beautiful, vulnerable, honest question, Matt, because you're not the only one that struggles with this issue. So I'm going to read your question. I lost my mother on June 12th, and we had a very close, fantastic relationship, but we had some regrets about I have some regrets about past arguments and whatnot. Tips for how to move on from it. Number one is like having a regret of an argument is a good identification, but it needs to be more specific on how to heal it. First, you need to identify what happened in the argument besides that it didn't need to happen. Because when we look at our lives and the things that we spend time on or get mad at in hindsight, all of us spend time on petty arguments. So this is not unique to you. This is like a learning and growing of humanity, right? And my husband sent me a video last week about couples that have petty arguments. And you really, so some of it is just about awareness of like, did I argue with my mom about these petty things? Let's just use that as an example. Let's just say you were a kid and you stayed out at night and you wanted your independence, which, by the way, I had this conversation with a young man last Saturday, and he thought since he was 17 years old that he should have more freedom because he's a good kid. And even though he's a good kid, he's living under the parents' roof, and so he has to follow their rules. So he was in arguments with his parents over something that's fruitless. So maybe the lesson is to make a decision to not have fruitless arguments. Like really look at things like, is this worth my energy? Did I say something that was hurtful, Matt? That might be something else to look. And so you would say, moving forward, I decide that I am going to commit to speaking kindly to people, even when there's an argument, let's just say. That could be, Matt, a way that you consciously choose to move forward. I'm not saying you have to do that, but that would be helpful, and that would eliminate the pressure that you feel about the sadness of your mother. So part of the relationship with your mother is that, I'm just going to be honest here. We all have soul lessons, okay? So you have no clue, unless you read her soul records, which I don't think you do, what lessons she needed to learn from you being exactly how you were with her. And so that moment was perfect in that it has its lessons for her of which you may have no conscious knowledge of. So you can't really determine that what you did was inappropriate, but what we do know is that you are the one that has conscious choice to make changes now. And as you make conscious choices to resolve that situation now, it heals that instance. Does that make sense? Beautiful, beautiful question. Thank you so much. I hope that helps you. Mabette is talking about jealousy. You can't control other people's expressions. And if they're jealous, they're jealous. You're not going to be able to fix anybody else's insecurities, okay? But what you could address is, why is it that you're attracting people who are jealous, right? Just career-related exam jealousy. And then I would say, it sounds like, Nabet, you're in higher education. And so what I would suggest is that higher education is all about splitting people and creating separation. So I would suggest don't share your scores with anybody. It's nobody's business how you are doing in classes. It's nobody's business what you're focused on, and be more discerning about who you share your personal information with. I hope that helps you. But jealousy is a frequency and it's a resonance. So if you're attracting people who are jealous, that means that means something. I would suggest that that means that you're attracting people who are insecure, and that insecurity you probably have within yourself. So resolve that insecurity within you, and then you won't have to address it with them. Does that make sense? So that's a long answer to that question. Peter, did that help you in relationship to your father? I want to make sure you've been so kind and generous in your request that I want to make sure that I'm answering you as well. And especially because you're helping me here. I am from the United States. Daniel. You can't apologize for other people's behavior. It doesn't work. But I appreciate the gesture in which you're saying that. I really am here for you and people like you who really want to learn and grow and expand. And, you know, thank goodness we have Peter and Oliver helping in the admin to help delete some of these things. Matt, that's helpful. I'm 40, I'm not getting younger, so I appreciate great insights. Well, Matt, since you mentioned 40 and getting older, and what you want to be very mindful of at 40 is when men tend to really start to go down this road of a, what do you call it? Midlife crisis. Like and that's social engineering. Just so you know, that's what it is energetically. It's not what you think it is. It's social engineering. So address your soul wounds, Matt, and you are going to be having the best years of your life moving forward. It's not about getting younger. It's about leveraging everything that you have now to grow into who you want to be. And 40 is young, okay? 40 is young, and you are wise. And if you do your soul wound healing, which I talked about yesterday, you're going to fly through your 40s like no tomorrow. And you're going to see your friends going, I'm glad I don't have to deal with that. Kevin, oh no, I'm so sorry. Kevin, what we eat impacts us. You're in the hospital, you have an upset stomach. I'm sorry to hear that. Our gut biome, my husband always laughs at me when I say anything about the gut biome, but it is another brain, right? So we don't even have this up here. We have our gut biome that directs things. So I hope you feel better, Kevin. Thanks for checking in and letting us know. Just getting to your messages now, Kevin. Oh, yes. I can lean back and talk. Thank you, Christian, for the advice. Oh, good. I'm so glad, Matt. I'm really, did you do something, Matt, to honor your mother? I think that would make a huge difference. Learning how to honor those who have had an impact on our life, especially a positive impact, goes a long way. So find a way to honor your mother. And I don't mean by saying anything nice about her at the funeral. I mean like you make a decision to live differently because of the relationship much of an impact on you, like to improve yourself. Okay. Okay, is this far back enough? I hope so. This is where everybody is at. Okay. Noel is saying Noel, my biggest regret is being more assertive instead of being a people pleaser. Well, people pleaser is like the opposite extreme. So Oh, and not being, your biggest regret is that you weren't more assertive. Ah, I see. Okay, so I have not read this book, but I have heard of it. So I can't, should I say the book? I'll say the book because it comes from a good resource. The book is No More Mr. Nice Guy. Okay. I have not read that, but I have heard from a good source that is a good book. All right. So, so what I would say, I have not read that book, so I cannot say for certain. But how to be, so one thing that came to my awareness the other day when I was just chatting before a meditation with the group, that the tea ceremony, was that a lot of people spend time in their heads about conversation. Should I say this? Should I do this? And they waver. I don't know what to call that, but I should do a video on that. If you guys can help me on what to call that. Christian, I cannot read the comments if I go all the way back. Are you being nice or mean, Christian? I can't tell. What I would say is that when we waver in our mind, if you guys could give me a good word for that, I would like to do a video on that. But I don't do that. So I don't know the word in which that happens, but what I would ascribe that to is an insecurity. So when you are insecure or when you are unsure, and another way of saying that is when you are disconnected from your heart and you spend a lot of time in your head, it will change how you communicate. I personally have always been the person that says something inappropriate, maybe sometimes hurtful, and hurtful meaning not untrue, but hurtful meaning like it's too direct. Because I am known for being very clear and very direct with people, and most people are not used to that. They're used to people whitewashing things and lying to them. So when they meet somebody like me, it can be quite shocking and jarring to a person who is used to people being fake. So I would address the insecurity, Noel. So I don't know if I've done a video on insecurity. Maybe I should do that, insecure. But most people don't know they're insecure, because their mind, the ego does not allow people to see themselves as they are. So I don't know. Is this helping you at all? No. So let me go back to your question. My biggest regret is not being more assertive. So maybe you can make a conscious choice now to be more in alignment with your heart with difficult conversations. Maybe that would be a new decision. And so how do you know you're doing that? You track it every single day. So every day at the end of the day, let's just say for the next 30 days, because once you master it, it's going to be mastered. You won't have to go back and correct. You're going to be a master at being in alignment with your heart and being assertive. Now, you might see that there's repercussions to being assertive. And so you might have to find a little bit of a balance of what feels good for you. I think finding the balance is the hardest part, especially if you're like Mr. Nice Guy, which clearly you are highly intellectual and very, very astute and observant, but then you probably stew over things that you wish didn't happen. And that's kind of where you lose your connection to life force, because the stewing is the regret, right? The stewing is like, oh, I should have said this, and it gets you in your mind. So what you want to do if you have like an instance that just happened, for example, in a relationship or a work event or something that's regrettable that you did at work. Like one time, I remember when I was really young and oh my gosh, I can still remember this. I just remember the feeling. I sent a personal email to a group of colleagues. I was absolutely mortified because it was about a breakup and it was so personal and vulnerable. And I sent it to a group of professionals that I worked with. And it's not that I was ashamed of what I wrote. It was just that I was not accustomed to sharing personal information in the public forum. Like I had rules of how I thought professional should be. And I had just violated my own personal code, if you will. And so I tried to recall the email, but I couldn't. So then I decided to just roll with it and, and learn from it. And then in the learning, I realized, people really do not spend that much time thinking about what other people do or say. And that that actually ended up being a massive learning for me professionally, because people do not spend that much time fretting about your personal business, if you will, and how you reacted or didn't react. Okay, that was a null. Hopefully that was helpful for you. Yes, our mother and father, they are all we have, but they're not all good people. Let's just be clear, David. I know that you want to honor your mother because she was a good person, but some of us have mothers that are dishonoring of their relationships with their children. So then what? Then what do you do? Hello, Indonesia. Oh, thank you, Kevin. That was very nice. Am I in stress? No. I'm just trying to sit back and read at the same time. And I really didn't want to wear my glasses. Okay, ruminating. Yes, Selena. Yeah. Matt is saying, a really great book. You've read it. Oh, good. Oh, he's recommending A Purpose-Driven Life. I've read it. I didn't like it. But I'm glad that you liked it. I thought it was not good at all, Matt. So you and I have different tastes in books. Significant book. I would say, can you name one thing that you got out of that book? I can't. That's how I determine books, if I can remember anything that I got from them. Otherwise, it doesn't make it into my recommendation list, which is why I gave the disclaimer on that other book, because I didn't read it. Oh, Daniel's a psychiatrist by trade. Oh, that's a good, Daniel, thank you so much. I am not a therapist, a psychologist, or a doctor. I am and do energy psychology, which, Daniel, I have many psychologists in my service. And so anyways, Daniel is saying his biggest regret is not trusting his abilities and analysis enough. I always question myself too much. That's insecurity, Daniel. But I would say, because you were so open about what it is that, okay, Daniel, I'm just going to be honest with you here. So when you go to school and you get trained, remember what I said to the other person that is in competition, right? That's where the insecurity gets seeded sometimes if it's not there. So often people who are doctors, lawyers, professionals with secondary and sometimes multiple degrees, the insecurity is what's driving into that system. Okay, so not trusting your analysis is inbred in the engineering of the education. Okay, and it's supposed to be that way from the engineering. It's called social engineering, which I'm sure you've heard of. So what I would suggest, Daniel, is starting to question what you've been taught. Because there's something, you're not questioning your aptitude, You're questioning your analysis in presenting, which is different than questioning. So something is incongruent in what and how you are doing what you're doing. So you want to address that specifically. So what is incongruent? And I think it's more than one thing. Identify that incongruence that will shift your expression in your profession, and it will make you a more proficient, more direct, and more on point in how you are connecting with your clients. Okay? It will allow you to be more heart-centered with your clients than in your head, because your clients don't care about your analysis. Sorry. They just care about, number one, your aptitude to be in service to them. But that's not what you're taught, right? That's not what you're taught. You're taught to do it a particular way. So anyways, Daniel, if you're interested in trying one of my sessions, I have a first-time client deal that will only last until the 1st, and then it's gone, and it will never happen again. And I don't know, I'm doing it because I was guided to offer it. So if you're interested, you could shoot me an email, but you don't have to. If this is enough for you, that's okay. You take whatever resonates and leave the rest behind. Don't worry about it. Thank you, David. Oh, you read that book? Awesome. What is an insecurity? A byproduct of high intelligence? I wish. Me and my colleagues always question ourselves and our work too much. I do not think insecurity is a byproduct of intelligence. Insecurity is a social engineered program. It's programming, Daniel. It's beyond the mind. It's beyond your comprehension, and it happens through the educational system. Now, I'm going out on a limb here, and I'm just saying it as it is, but you've had a lot of education. I promise you, intelligence is beyond what you think. There is intelligence of the heart. There's intelligence of the microbiome that far exceed what our brains are capable of comprehending, okay? So when we're talking about intelligence, we really want to look at how we are tapping into intelligence. And what I'm suggesting, based on what you said here, is that you're missing your aspects of brilliance because of the social engineering and programming that you've been indoctrinated into. I'm not saying you're bad, because I know you're not bad. I know you're good. You want to do good by your clients, or else you wouldn't resonate with anything I'm saying here. You could see people pop on and pop out. So this channel isn't for the weak-minded. This channel is for people who want alignment, and you clearly want to align to be in better service to humanity, which is why I'm here, right? And so it makes me hopeful when I have therapist clients, because I know my reach is going beyond the session, because as you become more aligned, they become more aligned. I'm not silly. I understand how energy works. So hopefully that's helpful. Noel is saying definitely helping good. And I think Noel's saying, I think I've got a handle on being assertive good over the years, but it's better late than never. Hey, we're here to evolve. Good night, Kevin. And it is never too late. You know, even after people die, you can heal the relationships. You know, you don't need, and sometimes I will say, when people die, and you connect with them energetically, you could bypass the ego personality, which keeps it, which makes it difficult in this life to really heal relationships, right? Because we have the personality aspects. We're not just dealing with the heart or the soul or the experience. Anyways, I'm kind of going off on a tangent. I don't think it's ever too late to make changes that align us. No. This talk is about regret. Hey, John, welcome back. Zahir is asking, am I a professor? I'm a consultant. I have been a professor in the past, but it's not one of the things I'm very proud of. I used to teach leadership in the colleges, both undergraduate and graduate and doctoral students about leadership. But it's not something I'm most proud of. I can think of a million other things that I'm more proud of. Too close to one's own situation to analyze yourself. I don't think I understand the question there. I analyze myself a lot. If I ask a lot of questions, good quality questions will open up any situation. But sometimes you can't see on yourself what other people see, which is why it's good to work with somebody like me. And therapists that go out of their comfort zone to work with somebody who sees things differently. Julian, we're getting a book recommendation from Raw One here. Julian Janet's Origin of Consciousness. I think people just should connect consciously, and they don't have to understand consciousness. They just need to experience it. That's my personal perspective. That's what I bring. Every person that comes to me as a client will experience themselves in a different way. Every session is experiential in nature, and depending on how sensitive you are will depend on how much you can feel the energy running when I'm working with you. But you will leave different. Daniel, thank you. Thank you for thanking me. I appreciate it. Stephen, we're talking about regret. Do I do live one-on-one? I don't even know how to do that on here. But I do live one-on-one sessions. Is that what you're meaning? They're happening in the moment. Is that what you're asking, Stephen? I don't do it on YouTube in public. Although I have thought about doing that, but it's so personal and you never know what's going to emerge in the moment. Daniel's saying, I do think I need to do some introspection as the causes. It may be very well that what I've been taught does not sit well with me, especially when it comes to the methods of diagnosis. Oh my gosh, if you email me, Daniel, when you understand how the diagnoses come to be, are you talking about the DSM? They do not put a lot of information on the DSM specifically because if people knew, they would have an understanding and then they would have less credibility. So anyways, yes, critical thinking about what you've been taught. Critical thinking. I do not think diagnoses are great. The pressure, so here's Daniel, let me go here, if you don't mind, since you're being so, so here's what happens when so a diagnosis is what? At the root, a diagnosis is a judgment, okay? What does God say about judgment? Okay, and this is how, this is why there's second degree trauma, because when therapists wield their authority, which you are an authority, not just because your education, but because of how you are being in service to humanity. When we wield or miswield that authority, it will have karmic ramifications, and it will distort how you are signaling, because What you judge or what you curse comes back to you. And that's not a threat. That is the laws of the universe. That's how energy works. So this is why I tell everybody on here who is willing to listen, and I say it multiple times, do not accept a diagnosis as part of your identity. I don't care who you are. That is not who you are. And too many people take these diagnoses, and many of them are misdiagnosed. And I will just speak for myself, just health-wise, when I was going through my secret illness, which I did a video on, I shared how I was misdiagnosed 8 times. I went to 8 different doctors, each one giving me a different diagnosis that was completely wrong. And one of them was giving medicines to basically kill my gut biome, which would have destroyed my physical vessel in ways that are beyond the comprehension of most people's minds. It would have been devastating had I followed the advice of one of these diagnoses. So with that said, you are more than a diagnosis. And what you do is more than a diagnosis. So let's not as much time as focusing on the diagnosis, but how the diagnoses are given. So it's not even what the potential diagnosis is. It's the fact that you are in a state of judgment. And when we judge others in any capacity that is disconnected from our heart's coherence, so from our misalignment, we have repercussions. That's how the laws work. That's how the natural laws work. Okay, so hopefully, Daniel, we'll connect. I love talking about the DSM because when you understand and if I could figure out how to do that on here, I would do a video where I break down what's being said because it's mind-blowing. And it's a very credible research project done, and it doesn't get enough views. Okay, Zentech. What is the most significant factor influencing relationship satisfaction and how individuals cultivate health and satisfaction to maintain fulfilling relationships? Well, Zentech, that is a big question. What is the most significant factor? I would say the capacity, the most significant factor for a healthy relationship, as far as I am aware, and for it to function healthy, this means that everybody in the relationship has free will, right? And everybody is honoring the other person beyond your personal preference, right? So you honor them even though they may do something that is not your personal preference. You're honoring your relationship. And I would say that would be the most significant factor would be your ability to be in the higher heart capacity. That means in connection to your heart in all ways, always. In all ways, always. Hopefully that helps you. I do energy psychology. I help people align physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and energetically so they can be more congruent within. Noel is saying, I believe you're the sort of helper who will tell a client what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. You definitely got that right. Yeah, no, that's not always appreciated, but I feel like to be in service to humanity, you have to serve what you're being guided to is needed, not what people want. Although I always start off with my clients, because I pick up a lot on people energetically when they commit to a session. And, a client will come to a session and they want to work on these things. Let's just say they want to make more money, which is often, or they want to have a relationship, which is also often. But there are some things that might be inhibiting their abilities to do that. Can you cover all of that in one session? No. Can you make a big dent? Yeah. But the client has to want to go there. So usually what I do is say, this is what I'm picking up on, and I give people a choice. Zentech, I answered your question. Okay, Stephen. What are some practices I can do when I recognize regret setting and triggered thoughts and personality change? How do I snap back to stay consistently level-headed? Well, I would say get out of your head, Stephen. Stop focusing on being in your head and really practice being in your heart. If there's any one practice that's going to help with everything that I talk about, it's about being in connection to your heart, being in connection with your source, creator, God, whatever you feel most comfortably saying. Just don't say the universe, just be really specific. And when you are in connection with that, those practices will help you be more aware. So if you want to focus on a single practice that would help you, Steve, let me think. I would go back to what I said earlier is make a list of the characteristics that you want to embody. Steve, that's what I would say. Make a list of the characteristics that you want to embody, and then make sure that those characteristics would address the pattern that you want to break. I hope that helps you. No, I don't believe in Reiki healing. I saw that question. I've never tried Reiki. I know a lot of people that are into Reiki. I've never done Reiki, and I don't believe it's something for me. The DSM is a book of lies. That's what the DSM is. So we disagree there, Rick. Oh. I will play my drum another day, Alex. My dog is sleeping right now, and I do not want to wake my dog, and the drum will get her going and very excited. But I will play it one day. Maybe I should start my sessions with the drum. What do you think? That'll really get my likes up. Okay. Mighty Ducks, I believe I answered your questions. I believe in God. I believe in source energy. I believe in creator. And I believe in energy healing. I don't know about Reiki. I'm not a practitioner, and I do not align with it at all. Zero, ever. I'm not saying it's bad. Hey, Zira, good to see you. I just don't align with it at all. Thank you, Zir. Thank you. Okay, Zen, can you guide me on how to write a heartfelt proposal letter expressing my deep admiration and respect to someone who has significantly influenced my life without revealing romantic intentions? So what I would suggest, Zentech, is that when you speak from your heart, it doesn't need to be perfect. It needs to be felt. So if you are writing it from being in the intention of your heart, that will change the words that you choose. So I would suggest taking, I don't know, let's just say 15 deep breaths into your heart, keeping your hand on your heart. And then at breath number 10, call into mind the person of which you are thinking about who has influenced you. And ask a creator to help guide your words and writing, and See how that goes. Let me know. That would be awesome. Daniel is saying, from my experience, miscommunication is the biggest driver of friction in relationships. I have sat with multiple couples. It's a simple misunderstanding that lights the biggest fires. Daniel, I would say, I wouldn't disagree with you, but if both the partners were speaking from the heart, the messages would be received, and it wouldn't matter what words were said, because the friction is coming from misalignment, not from the words that somebody chose to say. So the misalignment is a lack of alignment with the heart. So, but that's what's brilliant, Daniel, is that, you have a different take than I do, and how you would approach it is very different than me. Not that communication models aren't supportive or helpful, but that's what I have to say. And when I work with couples, I'm working with them energetically. So we're not really focusing on the friction of the words or the discussion. We're focusing on the actual root cause of the friction, which is almost always an energetic harmonic that is misaligned. I mean, I'm not going to say almost always. It always is that. So how many people focus on those things? Not very many. I mean, I have couples that I work with that were and have been struggling, and those struggles gone from divorce conversations to, now they're in love. So it's not a drum set, it's a drum. So yeah, I guess I do. Oh, Sade. Got it. No, 10 p.m. here. Soccer highlights are coming. All right, I see priorities. Well, I will just say, Noel, is that I think it's very interesting, and I think about this as well. Good night, and thank you for being here, Noel. But I do think there is a lot of social engineering that goes on around sports and entertainment, and I think that's a great awareness to have. How much is your attention on sports drawing you away from the heart of life? Because a lot of people put their life on pause to go do these sports things. And I'm not saying that I'm not having any judgment. I'm just saying it's an interesting thing to look at. Oh, I got through. I do not have a fur coat. Oh, all right. So we're just about out. It could be escape. I thought you were gone, Noel. It could be escapism, but just you're so smart, Noel. Why don't you just take 20 minutes? You don't have to spend a lot of time. 20 minutes and use some critical thinking about how watching soccer may be misaligning you energetically. That's what I would say. And I'll give you a hint. It has something to do with winning and losing. And what does winning and losing do? So you ponder that one, Noel, as you're watching the highlights, okay? And it's not a bad thing to watch sports. I'm not suggesting that. What's bad is that we don't understand how it's been used to manipulate, myself included. I like sports personally. I do not like winning and losing. That's always been something that's caused me distress. I'm actually writing that down as, because that's really about creating a separation. Anyways, I'm almost at the bottom here with no questions. So we're at about an hour, over an hour here. No sports, no greenery, no gambling, right? Zentek, can you adopt me so I could learn a lot about whatever? Hey, Zen, look at, I have over 270 videos just from this year. Go look at those other videos and ask as many questions as you want, and I will do a video on those videos in which you post a, okay? Daniel is saying, this is interesting because I have never heard of this energy stuff. It's all new to me. The best way to learn is through experience. But you want to work with somebody who has a high regard of integrity and is doing their own work, Daniel. Just like so many therapists, they're required to do those special hours, but are they doing the real work outside of their sessions? Most of them are struggling. And that goes for coaching as well and consulting. I mean, I remember when I worked with this one guy, I was asked to partner with him on this special project with this company called Qualcomm. I don't know if you've heard of them. Because I work with a lot of technical people like engineers, people who are intellectual like me. And I thought, well, I'm just going to work with this guy so I could see what he's doing, because he was making a lot of money, and I was just curious, like, what is this guy doing? What is he doing that I'm not doing? Not that I wasn't making a lot of money, or not that, I just was curious, like, how he was doing what he was doing. So I worked with him, and, what shocked me is, this is what shocked me about working with him. Number one, he was not courageous in how he consulted. So therefore, he was consulting in his comfort zone, and he was unwilling, going back to what Noel said about unwilling to consult to what needed to be done for that group to make quicker, faster, better results, practices, so he could lure them in for more consulting. So he would just give them breadcrumbs instead of giving them what they needed. And, that's just a different way of consulting. That's not how I work. If people come back, they come back. If they don't, they don't. I believe the work that I do is all about resonance, and people either resonate with trying something different and exploring themselves in a different way, or they don't. People either want to do therapy and pretend to get better, or they don't. I don't think, no offense, Daniel, but I don't think if people are not aligning energetically that the work works. I think if we're just focusing on our intellectual capacity to make behavioral changes, we've missed the boat as humans. And by the way, when people understand that the system of psychology and psychologists are the same as the medical system, that they're intertwined with the same practices, just done differently, we will have a new understanding of the service. And that's not to say, Daniel, that I haven't worked with therapists in the past. I needed a different perspective in which to look at. So I'm not saying what you're doing is wrong. I'm just saying that if we're not looking at things energetically, we're missing almost everything, because everything comes from the non-physical. Everything that comes into the physical experience is originating in the frequency of their experience. So we're missing that. Why? Hey, Raw One, we're in a spiritual warfare right now. So it's not about liking fights. It's about knowing how to align so that you don't get killed. And I used to use that analogy, as a consultant, because I'm a change agent, right? And it's easy for change agents and organizations to get killed off or assassinated by people who you made feel uncomfortable. That is very common. So as a consultant, it's like, how do you stay alive, do the work that needs to be done, knowing that people are trying to kill you off, get you fired? I dealt with that all the time, every single contract within organizations. Scrooty, I didn't see a question. Okay, I'm just going to look for questions and then go have dinner. Okay, if you have any questions, let me know. Well, you wouldn't be here if you had zero knowledge. I mean, we all have knowledge, but how many of us have been blocked from our capacities to see if we don't even understand what social engineering is? Like I post a lot on LinkedIn. I don't post a lot anywhere else, but I post every day on LinkedIn. And what I will tell you is that the other day somebody posted a video of girls and girls behaving by a particular way. And then this is how the video went. It showed girls showing themselves as weak. Like, show me how girls run, and the girls run in a very meek, weak way. And then they asked another group of kids years later to show us how girls run, and it was much more aggressive and assertive. But the whole video really was about how people have been social engineered. And when we have social engineering and we have indoctrination going on, that directly impacts how we perceive. So we cannot see clearly. And then if you can't see clearly, how are you going to change, right? You're going to see through a distorted vision. Anyways. Thank you, reincarnated angel. Thank you. I'm 33, almost I deal with this. I don't know what that means. Okay, I'm going to look for questions. Hey, Peter, you're still here. Thank you. Why do some women, oh my gosh. Oh, okay. Why do some women emasculate and tear down their spouses? I watched my mother try this on my dad. I regret coming to resent both of them. Okay, resentment is different than regret. So here we go. I'm writing that down, resentment as a topic. Okay, really, really important. So I want to be very mindful because I'm going to speak in general terms here. But why do women do that? I can't speak for all women, okay? I cannot speak for all women, and I cannot speak for all situations. But what's most important is that you understand that people that are in relationships, marriage, boyfriend, girlfriend, family relationships, they have often soul contracts, okay? Soul contracts or vows that they may not be consciously aware of that has them locked in to these ways of being that are very chaotic, very problematic, and often dysfunctional and toxic. So why? That's part of the reason why. And I'm sure Daniel, a regular therapist, would give you another reason, but I want to give you energetic reasons that drive behavior, because these contracts, vows, I'm going to say another word that's energetic that you may not be familiar with, but there's something called implants. So we have 18 bodies, right? We have a physical body, mental bodies, all that. Those are bodies, but we have bodies within bodies. So we have energetic layers in which you cannot see, but can be energetically manipulated. And most people don't know that they've been manipulated. So then, therefore, they think that they're behaving in this way because that's the way they are. But they may not understand that they have soul contracts and vows and implants and other energetic aspects that are driving that behavior. So because your parents are married or were married, Peter, I would say not only did they have a soul contract, but they had some vows to work out some of their situations with one another. You also came in to learn from them. Now, maybe what you learned is painful since you have some resentment for both of them. But that's your lesson to learn. So what I would suggest, since you've been so open on here and vulnerable, is that your resentment is probably one of your soul lessons to reconcile. And as you reconcile that, you will heal yourself. The pain from that experience will diminish and transmute. So that would be an example of a soul wound. Thank you. That was beautiful and unplanned, and that's a beautiful example of people to have an understanding of how soul wounds emerge. Thank you so much, Peter. I think that was brilliant. A brilliant question, and I didn't expect for that to come. But so how many soul wounds you have? For example, if you came to a session and you said, "Okay, Kiannaa, I want to work on my soul wounds," which says nobody ever. Nobody knows they have this. But if they came and said, I would be able to tell you how many I was seeing or sensing within you, and then we could determine if they could be addressed in one session or 2 sessions or whatever. So that's how a soul wounding session would go, to address them. Now, how impactful is a soul wounding? It will change everything in which you vibrate. That's how big it is. So really, people don't know to ask about soul wounds, which is why nobody really addresses them. I do with my regulars that come to me on a regular basis because I know them enough. And even before I even do anything with the soul stuff, I always ask them, because it's their conscious, we have free will. And you want to work with somebody who is operating with integrity of your free will. So just last week, I asked the client, are you okay with us addressing some soul wounds? And I need them to say yes or no, because if they don't want to address it, I'm not going to spend my time on it, because it's their session. It's our time together. Anyways. Hey, Tom Cruise is here. Hopefully that helped you, Peter. Helped give you some different understanding. Zira is asking, do you think you will live elsewhere in your country for the rest of your life? Yes. I actually think it will be out of the country. Eventually. So it's a yes and a yes. I think both in the country and out of the country at some point in my life, yes. Where, I'm not sure. I have some potential ideas, but I don't know. For sure. It hasn't come to that. I do believe that I'm here for a reason, for sure. Because we resonate with areas, right? I have a philosophy of this in Christian lens. I bet you do. Women need the spirit of the Father. Okay, so that's not Christian, because the Holy Father and the Holy Mother, they're supposed to be coming together in unification, right? So we need to be able to hold both. And I would say where we differ is that you're saying that she can only get it from her father or her husband, and I would disagree. I would say that there are nefarious energies here, Scotty, that cause people to split the masculine and feminine energies. And because of that, marriages are not encouraged. I mean, look at our society. The divorce rate is higher. You have to consciously want to choose your relationship and your marriage and your partnership every single day. You can't just do it one time. You have to do it every day. Vinjay, I don't know what your question here is. What is the underlying psychological mechanisms that explains why individuals with large social network and numerous relationships can still experience profound feelings of loneliness? Well, I would say the answer to that is because they're in disconnection from their heart and they are not connected to Creator, Source Energy, or God. And loneliness is a perpetuation of separation. Abdul, I'm sorry, I can't. You think I'm going to remember all these names? I have to go by the name here, but thank you so much, Abdul. Rudy, thank you. Daniel, good night. All right, Daniel, thank you so much for being here. I'll be here tomorrow for another video aligned to this Video 366 series. We're going long here today. It's a Saturday. I'm looking like a Hollywood actress. Stop it already. No, I'm not a tarot card reader. Although I was told a long time ago that the cards, doesn't matter what cards you use, it matters who's interpreting the cards. So anyways, how to motivate yourself if you don't, no one else should do it. I've already reconciled, but the woman is more stubborn, and that's usually how it goes from the male perspective. Well, I would say that you've given up to some extent, and that is not necessarily to your benefit. But, you know, who am I? I'm just a woman on YouTube, right? You don't know me. I would say the agreement that men go into with their partners can often be detrimental and toxic. I will just say this. When I am coaching or consulting to executive men, their wives always get jealous. So I tell my clients at the very beginning, you know, you use discernment in what you want to share with your partner because they're going to be jealous either way. And they'll say, if you share something I said, they might get jealous of that. But what's most important is that my clients are operating from a place of alignment. If their balls have been cut off, if they have been demasculinated, whatever the word is, you understand what I'm saying. They can't be the best men. They can't be their best leaders. So my work is not to stop the woman from doing what she's doing. It would be to address the man and where is he in agreement with things that aren't serving him, right? I'm going to have to do a whole video on books I recommend and why. I don't have a whole list. I just, but I would need to describe them, and that's a different video. Abdul is asking, what calls a woman a woman? A woman is a woman because she was born a woman. I don't understand. Are you getting confused because of the social engineering agenda about gender? Because gender dysmorphia is an issue. Who do I like more and who do you hate? I don't know what you're asking there. Yes, it is. It's early here. It's just the afternoon here. And it's Saturday. Salvo! Good to see you. Oh, Salvo. Oh, I'm so glad. Well, Send her my regards. Thank you both for being a part of being in sync and alignment. I love it. I think my talks would be good. I talked to my husband about my talks here. I think it's so interesting. We were talking about regret, but I'm at the end now. And I don't think I'm lecturing. I was just answering questions. Do you think these are lectures? Salvo, ask your girlfriend, am I lecturing? Peter, am I lecturing? Okay. Well, I just want to say I thank you so much for being here and your participation and your high quality questions. I think tomorrow's topic should be resentment because that is powerful. And it could be quite, resentment can be quite a thing. So I think I'd like to talk about that a little bit. So thank you so much. Okay, Peter, thank you. I don't want to lecture. I don't like to be lectured, but I understand some people perceive that. But that might be some of my teaching mode coming out. I do love to teach. And I used to love to teach leadership and classes and stuff like that. Anyways, I'm just finishing now. I'm just saying goodbye. Moni, you're fine. If you guys have Oliver, you make a great suggestion. I think it's interactive too. I really appreciate what you all are asking about. But I'd like to see if there's any questions about regret. Any aspect about regret that you would like me to address as I take my vitamins. These discussions here on YouTube, when I first started doing this series, I didn't have as much interaction, but your interactions and your questions and your heartfelt desire to align literally is a high of my day. To meet and exchange with people from all over the world. We all have different experiences, you know, but we all have the human experience, unless you're a bot, of course. But we all have the human experience, and our unique perspectives really make life so rich. I love it. Any questions about, okay, Zira, see you later. Money. You may ask a question. Is it related to regret? That's what the topic is on regret. Any questions on regret? Let me thinking. I think I told you guys yesterday that I made a decision at 29 to live my life without regrets. So I don't have any regrets. And I think making conscious choices will keep you from living your life in ways that degrade your spirit. Is regret something that you only feel when you do something wrong? I would correct that. And it's not about right or wrong. It's really about when you do something that's misaligned with your journey, with your soul expression. So when we have regret, it's really about being misaligned with your soul's expression. Not wrong if it's not wrong, because wrong and right and wrong, right? Those are judgments. It's really about alignment. And so that's why I gave the four ways to leverage regret, because you can heal all regrets by leveraging it. Hopefully that helps you, Salvo. What's your girlfriend's name? Good for you, chilling in Canada. All right. Where in Canada? Oh, I think I remember you saying, I think it starts with an M. I can't remember it. Anyways, I think I saw you here before. I'm glad that you're speaking up, and There's no regrets. That's beautiful. So maybe speaking in alignment is a topic. I don't know. When girlfriend regret should we do? I don't know what this question is, Money. When girlfriends regret, what should I do? What should we do? Even she was passionate in the past for love. I don't know what you're asking here. Raw one, speaking truths. Just don't live with regrets about things you can't control. Well, this is the thing, is that we can't control anything. Control is just an illusion anyway. Hey, good. Hi, Jocelyn. Thanks for being here. Glad you two are having a strong relationship with learning, and growth is at the core of the relationship. That's my husband and I's one of our top values. You guys should see your values and have the value discussion. I talk about that in the videos in the very top, I think it's in the beginning 10 of this series. Anyways, control is an illusion, y'all. Control is an illusion. Take personal responsibility, and that's your best bet. Abdul, that is a very intellectual way of saying what I'm doing here. Oh, chillin', this is your first time here? Oh, okay. So you have a regret in the moment. Oh, yeah, when you didn't listen. Yeah, that's your inner voice. We all have that inner dialogue. Not all of us listen to it. Okay, see you later, Money. Oh, Money's out of here, but he says he feels alone. He doesn't have a girlfriend. He's living in the dream world. All right. Take care, Money. The only regret I had was in high school. I made the choice to not do wrestling 1 year when I should have pushed on because now I miss it. Interesting regret. Because what does wrestling represent? I think you're missing the lesson here, Salvo, because it's not about wrestling. What does wrestling represent to you? Okay, Abdul, see you later. Money. I don't know what to say. We're talking about regrets, but you don't want to live fully. So, Money, you must learn to listen to your heart. Stop listening to your thoughts in your head. You got to listen to your heart. That's the first step. You won't be lonely when you're connected to your heart. Okay, Salvo's saying he missed the team in a way. Maybe I let them down. I'm not sure. I don't think that's it, Salvo. That's not it. What does it represent? What does the wrestling represent? Chillin' in Canada saying miss opportunity, limiting oneself. I think it's something else. I know it's something else. Money saying, I don't know why, but after seeing you, I feel someone here is listening to me. Yes, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. Connect with your heart. Put your hand on your heart and you won't feel so lonely, money. You got to connect with your heart. Youth is wrestling. Now we're all trying to figure it out. What does wrestling represent? It's not youth, and it's only going to be specific to him. Okay, well, let's work this out together because I want to help you. Hey, son of God, how's school? Good to see you here. I love seeing the regulars. It's so fun for me. Okay, Zen Heck. I'm going to miss you tomorrow. Oh, you're going to Germany. Safe travels. Okay. Well, the topic tomorrow, I believe, is going to be resentment, if you guys agree. Salvo, what does it represent? I don't want to give it to you because it's part of your learning, Salvo, to understand how to dissect this. And since you and your girlfriend are loyal followers and hopefully likers, oh, now we're getting some. You're getting closer. He's saying wrestling missed being active. And what I would say is, would you say that wrestling had you connected to your body in a way that made you appreciate yourself? I don't know why your girlfriend wants more kids. 9 is a lot. I can't answer for her. Money, thank you. Hey, we're all in this together. You're not alone. We're all in this life here to learn and grow and connect. Okay, Salvo, we got it. So that's the regret. So now that you've identified, so now thank you very much, Salvo, because Salvo is showing us all how to do this work, okay? So this is how you do it. You have something that you think he thought he regretted in life, wrestling and not being on the team, but that wasn't it. That was the situation that has now brought him to the awareness that what he was really regretting is that he was connected to himself in a way that he was active and connected to his physical body and in appreciation of the body and how he was operating at his young age, right? So with that, Salvo, now you make a conscious choice about how you're going to connect with your body differently moving forward. No, he's not gay. He's in tune. See how people make silly assumptions. Son of God is saying, money. The first time I saw her live, I said our souls are somehow connected. Aw, Son of God, I don't remember that you said that. Salvo, I don't know what that means. I don't know these. JFG, I addressed this very same question about another guy who lost his mother. Please go back to their video and watch it because I don't want to do 2 of the same things on the same video. But I gave very specific recommendations. I think his name was John, or I can't remember the names. But please go on there on this video, go back to like 20, 25, 30 minutes, and I answered this question specifically with that I think it would be helpful for you. So Neil, that's not very nice. Guilt, how do you let go of guilt? We're talking about regret. Guilt is something totally different. That's a whole nother frequency. Well, guilt, at the core of guilt is a lack of integrity, okay? So you want to address that. You know, and a lack of integrity will change how you, a lack of integrity will change how you vibrate totally and completely. Okay. Moni is saying, I'm living far away from home in Dubai in the last 6 years. Oh, your girlfriend left. Yeah. I'm sorry to hear that, Moni. But I'm sure that you are, when you're in your heart, you will open and heal, and you will be able to connect with others in a different way that are more fulfilling. When you're in your head and thinking of how sad things are, it just propels a downward spiral. Salvo's saying, I need to change to manage my time better so I can have more time in the gym. I would say it's more about, because you could do push-ups. So do push-ups. It's more about how you are appreciating your body than you are doing for your body. So it's really how you're talking to yourself. You know, nobody works out like they did when they were in a sport. But I think the healing is about, the regret from the past high school experience is really about knowing that it's about the physicalness of the body and the appreciation of the body. And how you bring that into the present moment is to make a conscious choice to listen differently. And I think, Salvo, you're very intellectual. So it's, what I would say is that it's not about the amount of time that you're spending like working out. It's that you're doing and taking time for your physical well-being every single day, okay? And that happens with the food that you eat, the things that you drink, the way that you talk to your body, all of that. Money's a fashion designer. Oh, well, I can use some fashion. Oh, I see, Money. I don't know what to say. Maybe when you stop dealing with people intellectually and you're connecting with them in their heart, it will change your experience with these people. Son of God, 14 hours of work. You, son of God, you sleep 14 hours? Yes, take care of your body. Well, we're in many systems of enslavement, right? Unfortunately, and people don't even realize it. Oh, my light went out, you guys. So it must be time to end this video. It's been great chatting with you all. Okay, Salvo. Let me know how you feel. I'm just curious, Salvo. How does understanding that make you feel about regret? Because this is what happens when you learn and then make a conscious choice. It changes the frequency, you see. Okay, y'all. Money, I'm not ignoring you. I don't see a question there. Okay. Son of God. You know, once a month, I usually sleep anywhere from 10 to 14 hours in one sleep. It happens about once a month. So you're feeling better, more clear. Yeah, see, the frequency shifts. Good for you. That's how you heal yourself. Like, look, we're all our own healers. Obviously, I teach this to people to learn how to do. And you were so kind and generous to do this on here. I don't know who the heck is going to watch this video in full, but if they do, they will get a treat because you just shown people how to heal themselves. And it happens very organically, right, Salvo? And kudos to you because you had to put yourself out here. Trish, we're just about to jump off. Okay. Well, y'all, tomorrow I think the topic is going to be resentment, but we'll see how I feel. Because I think that's a really powerful topic that a lot of people have resentments, which is very closely tied to anger, right? I don't know, Money, what you're talking about. I'm sure, Money, you're probably a great designer. Hey, Salvo, hey, that's how we learn together. This is why it's so valuable to have meaningful discussions so we can all learn together. And anybody who has the patience to watch this video will get a lot of value out of it. It's not going to be for everybody, but you know, because I do put the content up front and then do Q&A, but this is a perfect example of how we can heal. And you will not have regret about that anymore now that you know what was at the root. And this is how we find that. Anyways, I'm going to go, you guys. It's been a pleasure talking with you and seeing you and connecting with you and having these great questions. Thank you so much to Peter and Oliver for doing the chats here. It really makes having these conversations so much more enjoyable to have you all here. And it makes me want to come back on here every day, which I will be back tomorrow because I am doing these videos every single day. This is the Being in Sync series. I come on here every day to between 12 and 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Please put the notifications on if you subscribe because I don't schedule all the time when I'm going to be here or what the topic will be. So you just have to have your notifications on. Moni, what is it that you need? It's okay to cry. Allow your tears to come. That's how you release. When you're in connection with your heart, you will release, and you are in connection with your heart. So people should not be afraid of crying. They should see crying as a way of purification. Okay? Disney princess is never something that I've been called. Yes, see, Money, it's okay. All right, go check out the other videos, Money. I think you'll find it very valuable. Okay, y'all, thank you so much. Have a great day. Happy Saturday. Bye.